Hi everyone, welcome back to another Shop3D unboxing.
I'm Ken, this is Felix, and today we've got something really special for you.
Yeah, definitely special. We got the Zmorph FAB.
And what is so special about it, Felix?
It's actually a 3-in-1 machine, so it's not only a 3D printer.
But it also laser cuts and mills.
Yeah, so without any further ado, let's get to unboxing.
Let's not waste time, let's unbox.
Let's unbox.
And there it is, one giant big box.
Ceremonial knife.
Ceremonial knife. And everything is already in this box, so nothing else needs to come with it, right?
Nothing else.
Awesome. So I think Zmorph is a company from Poland, and they've been around for over 10 years. I remember seeing them at a trade show at least 6-7 years ago with a similar concept, but I think this is the more refined version,
Yeah,
right?
this is definitely a more refined
Let's put it down and take the accessories out. So what have we got here, Felix?
So this is everything you need to operate this printer. You got all the different heads, the 3D printing one here, the milling head here, and the laser. So how about we go one by one and showcase
so we got
everything.
a spool of filament, looks like 500 grams of white, 1.75 millimeter.
Nice. Over on this side, this is gonna be the engraving head. So this is the laser, and it also comes with some safety glasses here.
Awesome. Over on this side, we got a whole bunch of tools, screwdriver, wrenches, Allen keys, a spatula for pulling your prints off. Looks pretty complete to me.
Yep. Over here, we got the spool holder. So you do have to assemble that yourself, but looks like it will take at least like 3 or 4 spools, so that's kind of nice.
Great. Sample print looks good in silver. Looks like a Cylon Raider to me.
Nice, we got a quick start guide here, which we should read when we set all this up. Over on this side, we have our milling head.
Awesome. Over here, looks like we have a cooling fan.
Yeah, so that's the cooling fan, and looks like the 3D printing head rather, is actually already installed in the machine, which makes sense.
And then over here in the box, we've got some print-a-stick adhesion aid for printing.
Let's see what's here. So we got our actually engraving bit here. Looks like a 2mm one, an extra nozzle, and an SD card.
Power cable, of course, and some brackets.
Yeah, so these are actually going on the milling table so that you can actually clamp your pieces together and hold them in place.
Awesome.
And what is that?
And I think it's a sample piece of
some plywood,
birchwood as well,
nice.
that you can
and there should be a filter. Nice. So it's right here. Nice. So we also have the HEPA filter, which is great for a lot of places as well.
Awesome. All right, let's get to the printer. There we go.
The printer is packaged actually super well. Lots of foam and actually
very well protected. And there was a little groove here for us to grab to take the printer out safely.
All right, so let's get all this foam away.
I think one of the most striking things about the Zmorph design is the enclosure it has.
Yeah.
It's got like curves, which you don't see in 3D printers that often.
Yeah, it looks very kind of futuristic in a way.
And it's actually pretty amazing that you can do a 3-in-1 in such a small package like this.
Oh, yeah. Nice, so let's twist it around, Ken. Because that's actually the front. This is what it looks like. And I believe that all these are actually magnetic, so if you did need to do any maintenance on the machine or just have it open, maybe put it on that side, and you can do that. And let's take out the foam here.
So you get a nice touch screen in the front as well, and a slot for your SD card.
Yep.
So Felix, is this a heated bed?
Yeah, it's a heated bed, so it heats up to about 100 degrees, so you can print ABS on it, nylon, and having it enclosed as well helps with that too.
And then linear rails for it to move nice and smooth.
Linear rails. You got the 3D printing head already installed. And yeah, let's plug it in.
All right, so now that we've plugged in the power, let's go ahead and power this guy up.
Yep,
so the power button is right over here. And then you'll also see that there's a button which is lit up red, and that is the emergency stop?
Yeah, that's the emergency stop, which is important when you're doing any milling or engraving because you want to make sure that your head is doing what it's supposed to do. So I think the next step is let's print something.
Yeah, so let's print something. You know, in terms of first use, it says let's assemble the spool holder. I
So
think
let's
you
do
already
that.
know how to do that, so let's get that started.
So Ken, you actually never used the machine.
I've never used it. This is me seeing the machine for the first time. It looks fantastic. Impressions are good. One thing I really like about it is how the hinge is all magnetic. You can pull the whole panel apart,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's also hinged. And there's magnets here that will just attach and hold it up. I think that's pretty ingenious. I mean, I love anything that can be done with magnets.
Magnets are special. All right.
So essentially, you're just loosening a couple screws in the back.
I'm loosening a couple
sliding
screws
it
and
in.
then just sliding it in. Very easy.
Yeah, the design is very unique. I don't think we've had any other printers that are like this.
No, it looks
in
really interesting too. Do you want to check if there's any like prepared files that we can print?
Yeah, let's see. So I put the SD card into the side. And I'm just going to go to New Job. I see that internally there's already clamps, fixtures, examples. I guess that's sample prints. So let's click on that. And let's click on the first one. Laser boat. Sounds good to me. Hit next. This G-code was prepared for a different tool head. Oh, I just chose the lasering tool
Oh,
head.
perfect. So it actually tells you if you select the wrong file, which
Awesome.
is great. So it knows what tools there is on there. So spool holder is on here. So let's
gonna
see if you can
cancel
find the load filament button.
Choose file. And it should be noted that I am working with this for the first time. So
So be patient.
I went to calibration, maintenance, and now I'm going to go to load filament. I'm going to select PLA because that's what we have.
Nice. I'm just going to take this cover off. for a
And I
second.
believe it's now heating up because there is a little twirling symbol going on.
Nice. You want to see if you can install this?
Sounds good.
So that is probably only used for PLA because you have the option to either install or uninstall it, which is nice.
And to install this,
You just slide it right in there and it should just kind of clamp. So more magnets.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yeah. So just make sure you hit the connector properly. Up a little bit. Yep. There you go.
okay.
And just make sure it's in there. That's it.
Wow, magnetically attached. Okay, very nice.
All right. So what is the screen saying? Still heating up?
So temperature says now a green check mark. So I think we're good to load.
All right. So is there a load button? Oh,
It
looks
says
like
please wait, loading filament. So I guess it
Okay,
automatically detected it.
Yeah, so it does have a filament sensor on here. So just had to actually stick it all the way through. So now
Great.
it's loading
So it
that
says
in.
please wait, loading material. So we'll let it wait. And now setting up the spool holder was really easy. We're
Yeah.
just loosening up the two screws, sliding the bracket in.
Yep.
And then
Exactly. And I like that there's actually more space for more spools here. So you don't have
True.
to take it off, store it. You can just put like 4 spools here and then just kind of change as you need.
And I think at this point we're seeing filament come out, so it is slowly loading it.
Almost.
So on the screen, it's cleared. So I think
okay.
it's already
so
loaded.
Maybe load just a little bit
so
more.
we can. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna start seeing if we can set up a new print.
Yeah, and I will find.
So I got a check mark
The
on
stick.
preheat printer, so we're good there.
So before you start, let's just apply a little bit of this printer stick, which is a fun name. And this is what it looks like, and oh, that's cool. So there's a little foam thing on here, and let's just squeeze. Let's squeeze. Oh, there you go. Okay, and then you just.
Awesome.
That's pretty nice.
So I see where I made the mistake in the beginning. There are 3 folders, one for CNC, one for laser, one for single extrusion, and I
Got
clicked
it.
the first one. So let's go to single extrusion. Makes more sense to me. 3D printing boat.
Sure.
So let's hit that. I'm gonna go to next. And now it's preheating the bed. So I think once
So
that's
click
good
on
to go.
Start. There you go. So now it should just start by itself.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
almost fully preheated.
So very quick, you know, from taking out the printer and actually setting up the very first 3D print, which is what most people are gonna wanna do when they get a 3D printer, is just kind of start and print something.
Yeah, so you
that's
don't
good.
almost didn't have to do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
just putting on that fan in the front.
So hopefully we didn't skip any steps, but it didn't really look like there was anything to skip. So there isn't really a manual bed level in which you gotta do. So it seems like it's just kind of factory leveled, and let's see how it starts.
Now we didn't install the motor on this side. Is that for the
Oh, it is for the
laser
HEPA
engraver?
filter. So the HEPA filter actually goes in that slot that you just touched. So we probably should have done that. So that's it, and we probably want to take that out of its packaging, so we want to do that.
So this is the little HEPA filter. There we go.
Yep,
Nice.
I'll take that back.
And that's good to change once it gets too dirty.
Yeah, you can just change it once it gets dirty. But we should have probably installed before we started the print, because right now there's moving parts in there.
Sure.
So we'll just...
But it does go on the outside of
yeah, it goes on
the
the outside.
unit. And then there's a little slot here I can see for where the cable goes.
Yep.
So probably like that. We don't want to do that now so we don't get pinched.
Yeah. Now we're just waiting on some 3D printing to happen. So what are your thoughts so far, Ken?
Well, extremely easy to set up. I mean, it sounds very daunting when they say, you know, all in one, because you've got all these different tools available to you. But it's actually extremely simple to unpack and get your first print started. And I think that's a lot of the people's reservations when they get a new printer. So that's fantastic.
So it
You'll
looks
be able
like
to go
everything is sticking properly, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so it looks like the first level is good, the first layer is good, and everything is working. And it's actually, it looks pretty fast, and it's pretty quiet too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think if you put the front cover on, we probably wouldn't even be able to hear it work.
Yeah, let's see. There you go. You can still hear it a bit, but it's nothing crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I hear more from the other printers we have here
Yeah.
than inside. And also, I think, you know, a bit of it is the sound coming from
From
where
the side there, yeah.
the filter is anyway, so.
But I think that we're good for now. And there is something I actually want to test. So right here, it actually says closed loop system.
Okay.
And that means that the printer is actually keeping track of all of the steps that the motors take. So theoretically, if I hold the head, it should come back to where it was before.
Well, there's only one way to test it.
And that is by actually holding the head. So you'll hear a little bit of a cranking noise. So that's the printer. So it did pause, and looks like it went back to a position that it remembered, and
And it is printing.
yeah, and it is printing where it was before. So
That's amazing.
So that's really cool.
Yep, it's printing straight on.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we showed that it prints. It showed that the closed loop system does work.
Yeah, but explain this to me, because we haven't had a printer before that has a closed loop system.
Right.
You know, what does this actually prevent?
So if you ever have some sort of voltage drop, or something knocks the printer, or if you knock the printer by, you know, kind of checking out the insides of here, and by accident you bump either the bed or the head, what this will do is it will go back to the exact same spot that was before.
So we've had situations where the support, for example, bumped the head,
Yeah.
and it was off a couple steps, and then what we got was a shifted layer.
Yeah.
This solves that problem.
That solves that problem. So yeah, you're right. That's probably the most common way to actually get a displacement of the head, and that solves it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep printing until it's done. And I don't even really see a layer shift line or a break or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like it.
So success.
Awesome. So why don't we let this print until it's done, and then we'll come back and see if we can change the tool head.
Let's do it.
And look at that, it's all done.
Yeah, all done. So let's take it out. Let's take a closer look.
And don't forget, everyone, that this was when we purposely
Inspect.
bumped the head. So it's looking like a very good print, actually. That printed fairly quickly.
Nice. Do you see any shift there?
If I were to look really closely, I could see a little bit. But, compared to the alternative,
Yeah,
which
that
is-
would have been just scrapped print
yeah,
for
that would have
sure.
been scrapped, especially on the bottom layers like that. So this is looking really good. And we-
For white too, like white PLA usually looks pretty bad too.
I
For
agree,
the
yeah.
most part, but
silver would look better.
yeah, silver would look better. But nice, it's a good print, good test print, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think.
And I think it only took us like 10 minutes to set it up.
Yeah, and we were talking and stuff, so it's
Yeah.
a very easy machine to set up.
Yeah, and we just pulled the file and printed it right away. No calibration whatsoever.
yeah, nothing. So I think now we should show a tool change.
Yeah.
So let's do
So
that.
we've determined that it's a good printer right from the get-go, easy to unbox and get started. Now let's get to the juicy part, which is what are we going to try next?
So we're just gonna try to put on the milling head. So to do that, I'm gonna have to switch spots with you and go in the front so
Sounds
that
good.
I can actually use this.
And I'll clean up some of the stuff back here.
Yeah, so Ken, what do you think about the printer? Like, who is this for?
That's a good question. So if it was me, if I was really tight on space for where my workshop was, this would be perfect because it could do so much and I could just change everything and just keep it on a cabinet with all the parts underneath. I think that would be a great use for it. So, maker spaces that aren't very big would be a very good choice for this. Or if I only had my garage to work with and there was already tons of stuff in there,
Yeah,
this would work really well.
I think this is also good for classrooms. Like, you just get one machine instead of three
Yeah.
to teach the kids, a little bit of everything, a little bit of additive manufacturing and subtractive,
Yeah.
which is I think really interesting.
All right, Felix, now that we've switched positions and we're going to change to a new head, I understand. We're going to
Yep.
do the CNC head.
Yep.
Why don't we do a stopwatch and see how long it takes? No rush. We'll go through the guide as well. I haven't done it before, so I'd like to go through all the steps and see how it's done.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. You get ready while I start my watch.
All right. So while Ken's doing that, the CNC head here needs to have the bit installed. But let's just go through the steps in the guide. How about that?
Yeah, I started my stopwatch. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So first, I believe we gotta home the head.
Yep.
So
So
we're
we're
going
going
to
to
the
go to
change
select
tool.
maintenance, change tool,
Yep.
park tool.
Park tool. Got it.
And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the tool head cables from the machine, left and right. It's labeled in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then disconnect the tool head from the X carriage.
While that is homing, I'm just gonna install the bit here.
All right.
All right, so it's homed.
Yes, it's homed.
Good. And so,
So now we're going to do left and right.
yeah, left and right. So I'll do that because
Okay.
you're not supposed to have two people.
Okay. True.
If we're gonna be timing it.
True.
All right, left and right is disconnected. Nice.
we're gonna
Tool head change
disconnect-
process has started.
Yep.
When you mount the tool head, press OK.
So we're also
haven't
going
done
to
that.
disconnect the A and B.
Disconnect the A and B. And they're all
And
nice.
it says it'll actually give you instructions on the screen as well.
Yeah, so there's actually a screen right now that says that once we put the new head on, we're gonna click OK.
Okay.
So we're gonna dismount the fan, grab the Allen key, and unloosen this bolt here.
Awesome. So you've changed different heads before. Do you know how different it is between the different heads, or is it pretty much the same process?
Every head is the same. Some of them have more connectors, some of them have less.
Okay.
But they're all pretty much, it's the same process for all of them.
Okay. Cool. So once you know how to change one of them, it's going
You
to be
can
the
change
same.
all of them, yeah.
Okay.
If you
Just
don't mind
follow the
putting
same
it
procedure.
on the side there.
Yeah, no problem. Well, that's a hefty looking head, feeling head.
Nice. So I'm just gonna put the bit on first before sliding it on there, because you don't want to be applying too much torque on that carriage over there.
That's what the wrench is for.
That's what the wrench is for. All right, so that's done.
And now, speaking of other heads that are available, this unit comes with 3
Yep.
all in one, but there's actually more options than that.
Yeah, there's actually a dual head if you wanted to do different colors or just different materials like soluble supports.
Okay.
And there's actually also a thick paste extruder.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you can use like some chocolate or some silicone or whatever is compatible with it. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
But that's an option.
So there's a lot more future upgradability,
Yeah.
in this unit.
So far there's 5 different heads, right, altogether?
Yeah.
If my math is correct.
So
Alright,
probably
so
the 3 that
looks
we're
good.
getting are the most common things that people want, and then
Yep.
the 2 other ones are a little bit more specialized.
specific, yeah. So all of the cables here are actually labeled. So we're going to put left on left. And it's labeled both on the cable and on the actual machine. So that makes it really easy to not mess up any cabling. There you go. So that's on. And we also want to change the bed. So we're going to unplug the bed connector here. There's a lock on this side. And now this entire thing should be able to just pop right off. Yep.
Wow.
So
That's very easy.
I'm gonna switch with you.
Yeah.
And then this bed, again, slides in there. This is the magnets to hold in place, and then you're just gonna lock it in there. And that's in. So we're gonna click on OK. And it says that the CNC tool head was detected, and it asks you if that was detected correctly, and it was. So we're gonna click on yes. And that was the tool change. So how long did that take?
Well, okay. Exactly 4 minutes.
Nice. And I
Okay.
think it will take a little bit faster too, because once that bit is on, you don't really need to.
I thought we were
change
going to be
that.
here for 30 minutes.
Well, it was 4 minutes.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, at this point, we're ready to CNC something. So we'd use those 3D printed clamps that came with the machine, or you can also use double-sided tape or something like that if you just wanted to do that. And
do
from
that.
here on, we're good to go for milling.
Okay. So these clamps just screw in directly into the bed.
Yeah, they screw in different locations on the bed here. So if you had like an odd shape or something, you can use those. Or yeah, just if you just had something flat, like that piece of wood that comes with the printer, you can use some double-sided tape.
Great.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
done. So that was easy.
All right. At first, I thought about ending the video after you change the tool head, but I said people will not be satisfied until they see this do some CNCing.
Yeah.
So let's do it. I found a piece of wood
Okay,
that comes with it. I think we should do the sample print.
let's do it. So
right,
I'll
here.
set this up with the jigs that come with it.
Yep. And just for safety, I'm going to put some of the panels back on.
Yeah, let's do that.
I love how that's magnetic. So the important thing with CNC milling is that we do the calibration before we do our first work, right? So I think you're going to guide us through the process now to do that.
Yep, so right now I'm just kind of seeing where I can put all of my fixtures. And this looks like a good spot. Right here somewhere. Yep. And I will use this to clamp it down.
And realistically, you could orient that differently and then just home it before we start our
Yep,
CNC.
that's correct.
Okay.
I'm actually going to switch sides here.
And we are going to use the example file that is included with the Zmorph.
Yep. So right now I'm just bolting down all the fixtures, the clamps and fixtures here.
And one thing that is important with the CNC that's a little bit different than 3D printing is to not home the head, when you're doing CNC, because it could drag it into a fixture or a part of the print.
Yeah, that's correct. So with the milling head and even the laser, you're actually going to be doing like manual homing, where you're going to be setting the zeros by yourself. So that's what we're going to do here after I have all these clamps down.
So what's the purpose of using the fixtures for the wood material?
So in our case, that's how we're going to hold it down, because if you just leave it on display, it's as it goes around, the head will knock it and move it around the place. So what we're doing here is we have a right angle, basically just fixture here, and then we have a couple clamps that we're going to be pressing it towards that right angle.
And it also elevates it and lifts it off the bed, right?
Yeah, it elevates it ever so slightly so that you can actually cut all the way through the piece.
Okay, cool.
So almost done here.
And the clamps that it comes with looks 3D printed, so if you wanted to kind of customize your own clamps.
Yeah, as long as you can fit it in these holes, then you're good to go.
Right.
If you didn't like these for whatever reason, you can always just make your own. That's the nice thing about having the 3-in-1. All right, So, go, just gotta release.
So this piece of wood that we're cutting seems like
It's about a
eighth inch?
6 millimeter, so that's, what is that, a quarter of an inch thick.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I
Should
think
be a breeze.
should be a breeze, yeah, shouldn't be too hard. Just having some trouble. Probably didn't pick the best positioning. There you go. Figuring out how to clamp workpieces becomes a little bit of a work of art. So a lot of people will gain experience as they go along.
So should we put the clamps in and then kind of tighten it up?
Yeah, so you put the clamps in, make sure everything is actually bolted to the bed here. And after that, you can put your you can put your workpiece in and do the clamping that way. So release that a bit. There you go. Almost. There you go. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's pressed against that right corner there. So as you're clamping, you're kind of pushing it towards the back end there. And once that's clamped and flat, and this is clamped and flat, we can start cutting. There you go. So that's not
Great.
going anywhere. So right now what we'll do is we'll select the file that comes with the printer, and it just tells you a little bit about the job itself. So it's telling us that we need a piece that's 160 millimeters by 220 by 6 millimeters, which is about what we got here. And click OK. And from here we need to calibrate it. So what we'll do is we'll move the head around, and what you want to make sure is that you're not actually hitting anything. So we're going to just set, we can home the X because we know that there's nothing there. We can home the Y. Good. And now we're just going to look, oh, I shouldn't have pushed that. I clicked on home Z, and at this point it will try and home it regularly, so I shouldn't have pressed that.
But it is useful for that emergency stop button.
Yeah, the emergency stop is super useful because, as you saw, I actually pressed the wrong button, which happens. So we're just gonna rehome everything. Make sure nothing is gonna hit anything as well. Okay. And what we're looking for now is that front left edge. So we're gonna move around very carefully, and you can adjust the steps as well. So you can go 10 millimeters, 1 millimeter, or 0.1 millimeters. So I'm not gonna be too precise here, but normally what you would do to get the edge perfectly is actually use a piece of paper and make sure that there's like a little bit of resistance. So this is me homing the X, and now I'm gonna move to the Y. That seems about right. Set that, and the last thing we need to set is actually the top edge of our workpiece. So somewhere there.
Right about there, just touched.
Good. I'm just gonna raise it up a little bit. All right, so at this point we have everything homed and ready to go. We know where our 0, is, which is the front left piece, the front left edge of our workpiece. And before we start, we're gonna turn on the spindle. And before you do that, let's put all the covers on.
Yep. So at this point, we would recommend that you put on safety goggles as well.
Yes.
But that's why we're putting the cover on.
And before you actually start, you're gonna start the spindle, and now you can start your file. Now it's very important that when you start cutting, there you go.
That's actually moving pretty fast.
Yeah. Nice. So I was saying, it's very important that once you start your file, that you have your finger on the emergency stop in case you mess up something or something is not going how it's supposed to go. But in this case, everything looks okay. Nice. So should we let it finish or?
Yeah, I think we could let it finish. Okay, so now I think we finished CNC cutting.
Yeah.
We did have a little bit of a pause and actually hit the emergency stop because we saw that the head had moved off of the printing area, but it did successfully cut the two pieces out that you see there.
Yeah, so we're not quite sure what it is, but well, this is gonna make a mess. But here are the two skis, and this is what it looks like cut.
I think this might
And
go
on
with
second thought, it was probably a good idea to do the fixturing outside of the machine. That would have made it a bit easier. So you do this and then you slide it in.
Right.
So that's
So
something
yeah,
we
it
learned.
wasn't too clear in the instruction manual in terms of how to orient the wooden piece, and I
for
think
the
that
for the
sample
example file.
So I think that might have been our mistake in just assuming that it was going to be oriented this way.
This way, yeah.
And then when it moved off into this area over here, we decided just for safety purposes to switch it off.
Yeah.
But it did cut these two pieces perfectly. I think they have to go with the boat, right?
With the what, sorry?
The 3D printed boat?
Yeah, I feel like they should go with those.
Maybe they go underneath as a little ski.
Could be.
It does kind of fit that way.
Oh, it does.
So I'm not sure if that was the intent of it. That would be cool to have a project like this going in.
But anyway, so let's clean up really quick and then wrap up, show them the laser, and go from there.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Felix, so now we've cleaned it up a little bit. You know, as we all know, if you're CNCing, things are going to get a little bit more messy.
Yeah, it's kind of the nature of the process. I'd say like what I learned from it is probably maybe vacuum as it's cutting, just so you don't get too much stuff around the area here.
Yeah,
but,
and for the cameras, we kind of blew the sawdust around
Yeah.
so that we could see what was happening, but that was probably a little bit of a mistake on our side.
Probably.
Just adds to the cleanup time that we have to do.
Yeah, another thing we learned was, you know, just set up your part outside the machine instead of inside. That would have made things a little bit easier.
Yeah, we won't be doing any laser engraving today, but this is the laser module, and it is installed pretty much the same way as the CNC head.
Yeah, and yeah, the experience that I had with it as well is exactly the same as the milling head. You kind of home it, get the 0 that you need, and then you laser from there. Just make sure that you wear the laser goggles because these panels are not gonna stop the laser from bouncing around. So it's for safety, make sure you do that, and anybody around as well.
Yeah, and I can see the mechanism is almost exactly the same. You can hook it onto the back and then secure the front.
Yeah.
And that's it. So this would also only take
About 4 minutes, yeah.
about 4 minutes or even less. Now, when we're using this, are we using this bed to clamp the material on as well?
Yeah, so you're using that bed to climb the material on.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that's about wraps it up for our unboxing. I think we've tried out most of the functions. It's performed flawlessly out of the box.
Yeah, before we go, what's your favorite thing about it?
Well, for me, I like that you can change the head super quick. Like if I just decide to do something else, within 4 minutes, you know, I'm off to the races.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'd say for me, it's like the flexibility of this machine. So like the possibility of 3D printing something and then milling it and maybe even doing some lasering is there, something that I'll want to try for sure.
That's a good idea. And again, that only takes a couple of seconds to just, you know, swap it back. A few minutes to swap it back and forth, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, so I recommend it.
Fantastic out-of-the-box experience for the Zmorph all-in-one. It's available through Shop3D.ca.
Yeah.
We have it in Canada.
And we have a couple different versions. If you just wanted the printer itself to start off, you can do that and then upgrade to the other tools as you need. Or if you just wanted the 3-in-1 right away, we have that as well. So that's it for the Zmorph. If you have any questions, drop us a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.
And if you want to get the Zmorph, get it today at Shop3D.ca.
Until next time, I'm Felix.
And I'm Ken.
Take care.